Good evening. Organizations today focus on sustainability as a key priority, but investments, return on investments, where is the funds going into? Is there loans being spent? This is a key question that comes from a lot of organizations, especially the decision makers who battle in whether this project should be included or shouldn't it be. When we speak of rupees and cents from sterling to dollars, this show talks about much more. A very good evening and a warm welcome to Business Today, where we bring you the insights and the stories and opinions of what we do as a weekly process on Business Weekly. Talking of the show today, we're going to focus on a very specific industry, the banking. And here's the update coming up soon. I'm Sharam Mascarenhas and I'm sitting in for Sakani for a change, and this is where banking industry today brings us to a number of questions. Loans being taken, interest, whatnot. Everybody would just go into a bank, talk about their transactions. When it comes to loans, when it comes to their benefits, everybody looks at the same thing: where is the money? But to talk in more detail as to where the banking industry is going further, where is mobile technology heading, we have a very industrial person joining us on the show, an iconic personality, a wonderful person who counts about more than, I would say, around 29 years of experience in the banking industry. And also, he was the first Sri Lankan to assume chairmanship of the Asian Banks Association. Please allow me to introduce Mr. Rajendra Thiagaraja, the Director, Chief Executive Officer of the National Development Bank PLC. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening.
It's an absolute honor to have you on the show.
Pleasure is entirely mine.
Let me start with the whole process of how you took position as the Chief Executive Officer of HMB and NDB. How was that role for you?
The roles were equally challenging, but I think they had a slight different tint. I joined and took over the responsibility at the Hatton National Bank around 2004, and that was an experience where, having worked for most of my previous part in foreign banks in Europe as well as in Sri Lanka, the focus and exposure was very, I would say, limited, and the opportunity of seeing Sri Lanka through a true set of eyes was very limited. But I think HNB really opened a complete different paradigm in my life. The network, the retail centricity, and the focus of the bank gave an opportunity to really dive deep into grassroots Sri Lanka and see, experience, and try and make a difference in the common man's upbringing over perhaps a 10-year of giving leadership, which is something I will always cherish. NDB, on the other hand, was a smaller bank. It is a very well structured, extremely well capitalized bank, and I think is poised to take off and become a much larger and a more systemically important bank in the next 4 to 5 years. And the challenge of scaling it up also truly excites me. There are two different sets of challenges.
So you've worked for 29 years. It's an illustrating career, and I'm sure a lot of bankers, accountants, people who are watching this probably wondering, how did it all start? How did the whole challenge part, and how did you become a CEO? How did that whole illustrious life come about?
The route into banking was not defined. It was by pure accident. Having trained as a chartered accountant, I very early in life decided that accounting was not my career, but it was a very important foundation, and decided to do an MBA very early in my life, in my early 20s, and I went to one of the top business schools in the UK, Cranfield,
So let's touch a little bit about the MasterCard, the partnership that you've had with the MasterCard. Is this more on security purpose? Are we looking at convenience?
It is a combination of both. I think MasterCard, as you know, is one of the top 2 or 3 brands in addition to Visa, which offers convenience not just for credit spending but also as a shopping card and for emergency cash, etc. So it's a solution as a part of a total offering which we are giving mainly our retail customer base. In terms of the security aspect, I guess like any other modern card, this solution also offers what we call the chip and pin technology, where the password protection and encryption is there, which gives the user the degree of comfort and security to increasingly use a card as opposed to carry cash. And I think Sri Lanka, like any other emerging market, is gradually embracing plastic and reducing the use of physical cash.
So now we're embracing too many cards, I would say, because if you open a woman's purse or a man's purse, whatever it is, we see a number of cards, loyalty cards. We speak of shopping, supermarket, whatnot, all kinds of stuff, which basically brings in points, but we don't see the support being given. Are these people actually going to use this card several times during their purchases? Is there a solution coming out for this? Because to be frank, we're not too comfortable carrying so many cards in a wallet.